We're back, everyone. We're back from the dusty apocalypse.
Yeah, don't worry.
We're saved by the Avengers. It's the CU podcast for Tuesday, April 30th, 2019. 9 days out from Pat's birthday. That's Ian Ferguson. I'm Pat Condra. Well, we're talking Avengers Endgame with spoilers. The 3DS is just about done. The Sonic trailer we're going to watch live. We get our reaction. We haven't seen it yet. Best Buy giving you a PlayStation Classic for pennies on the dollar. And Scumbag Star of the Week might come back. A Tales from the Game Store. My throat's a little raspy. Ian, we'll get to Endgame in a bit. Anything else that happened this weekend with us? Well, you saw Endgame like 11 o'clock on Thursday night.
Yes, I did. I like going to the movies late.
Vonnie, I fucking don't.
I felt bad for Vonnie. She had to work the next morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, she has to with her line of work. She can't.
Right. You can't.
You can't risk that shit.
Working in comics, you can't not see a comic book movie and expect it to not be blown for you over the weekend. But yeah, we had a good time. I enjoyed the movie. We'll get into it a bit later. It was not my favorite Marvel movie.
Well, hold it for the section.
We'll get there. Yeah. No, other than that, I've been trying to stream more. It's been fun. Playing a lot of Mortal Kombat 11 still.
You're streaming it off the PS4 directly, or no? You're not using OBS.
I'm using
OBS. We're both graduating to knowing how to stream.
Yeah. No, I've been using OBS for like the past 3 weeks,
month
or so now, because it lets me do other stuff besides PS4.
Yes. We can finally do that Friday the 13th. We can do it.
We could.
Now you can do the team up streams on Twitch. It's
that's
beta.
weird. I don't even know how
you
that
combine,
works.
I guess, screens or something. You join forces,
smash them together, and
you're pissed in the same toilet like you did when you were 4 with your cousin. So I did that anyway. Sorry. Anyway, okay. What did I do? Well, I saw. Well, we'll get into the Avengers thing in a bit because there was a little thing that happened. I'll tell everyone about. But our mutual friend Yoshi, CG artist extraordinaire, came down. We did some grappling training on Sunday. He only hurt my arm once by accident, so that was successful. That was a successful session.
I saw our pal Tom on Sunday too, and he brought little bunt cakes down. And they were delicious.
So opposite directions, but still communal.
Yep.
Exercising, training, and having bunt cakes. But I love both Thomas and Yoshi. We missed out. We should all got some fish tacos. But no, it was fun. And you can see the joy in Yoshi teaching because he used to teach, jiu-jitsu, and so he was like really into. I was like, you got to slow down a little bit here. I'm a beginner, and someone was like, the arm bar has like 5 steps. You got to just slow down a little bit on each step, and it was fun though. It's good. I can seriously see myself getting into it if I had time, because it is it's fun. There is a chess element to it, and yeah, you learn how to handle yourself against bigger opponents. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then what else did I do? I'm working on a certain Super Nintendo guidebook, and then the NES guidebook. I'm down to like 20 copies left in stock. So don't order them if you're out there. Wait until the third print because it's better. So let the people on Amazon don't know. Order the last copies. So that's what I'm going to say to you.
Wow.
And don't. I'm just going to say, those Amazon people, let them get it. Plus Amazon takes a bigger cut too. So Amazon has you over a barrel a little bit. Not that I don't like Amazon, but anyway. So. We have an announcement for conventions we're going to be at.
Okay.
We can officially say we're going to be in Long Island Retro Gaming Expo.
Yes.
August 9th and 10th, is it?
Correct.
And that's in...
No, wait. No. Is it?
Or 10th and 11th.
10th and 11th.
10th and 11th. We should know this. We should be good to our pals at Long Island Retro Gaming Expo. It is August 10th and 11th. Go to Long Island Retro Gaming Expo.com. It's okay. This website is expo.liretro.com. That's the website. And what other guests you're going to have besides us show up? We'll get into it next time. There's in the past they've had some YouTube personalities. We got Vinny from Vine Sauce coming out this year. Our pal Leonard Herman.
I love Leonard.
Wrote the first video game history book, Phoenix. Frank Cifaldi's coming out.
Oh, yay.
Okay. I
didn't know that.
I didn't know it either. The Cheap Ass Gamer Cast is coming out.
Sweet.
Modern Vintage Gamer, not familiar. Sure, he does great work. The My Life in Gaming folks will be there. The Retronauts will be there. So it's going to be a fun time. It's my first time coming to the Long Island. Long Island's been around for a few years now. The expo, I heard it's really good.
That's a hell of a lineup.
That's a good lineup. It's a good. That's I hopefully get to hang out with Vinny finally. I was convinced, yeah, we're gonna hang out. It never happens. I love Vinny though. Check him out. And then the week before that, I'm going to be at the Missouri GameCon. That's at mogamecon.com. And that is the previous weekend. So that is August 3rd and 4th. Well, really the 3rd. The 4th is just a VIP thing. Just the 3rd. And that's, I'm on the website. Yep, I'm there. Walter Day is going to be there. I'm going to be there. Norm the gaming historian is going to be there.
Which one?
Norm the gaming historian. Missouri GameCon.
Yeah.
Jay from the Game Chasers. No Billy there. And others to be there. So there, check it out. Adam Korlick, my pal Adam Korlick. So check that out. That's at mogamecon.com as well. And you can still pre-order a certain Super Nintendo guidebook, which I'm still working on. Hopefully it'll be compiled by the end of next month, and then it'll be for sale later in the summer, because it takes time to print this stuff. It's not magic. And that's at ultimatesnes.com. So, Avengers Endgame, Ian.
Yes.
Originally, I was supposed to see it. I got tickets for the lot, the local place, which is great. You pre-book tickets like a concert.
That's where I go for basically all the
Yeah, we're too lazy. Go to the mall sucks just to see a movie. It's a whole thing. I still have free movie tickets, gold tickets that I bought. They're not free. I spent on Groupon 8 years ago. I still have them. I don't like going to the mall to use them. So I had 1:15. My friend had to do something that afternoon. So for her benefit, I traded in my tickets to Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. So I had to weed through the minefield of potential spoilers for another extra 24 hours. That was in my head the whole day. But I was not spoiled at all. I was not. So I was good to go.
Yeah, I managed to not know. I mean, other than some basic
stuff. We knew basic stuff.
Yeah.
We knew something was going to probably happen with the quantum realm, because you see me in those white suits and okay, something weird's happening.
Yeah.
Something. So, and then the trailers did a great job of not really spoiling that much.
No,
because 95% of the spoilers of the scenes in the trailers were just like the first 20 minutes of the movie.
I think the latest scene in the trailer was when they're actually in the suits about to all jump, as far as I can recall.
There was, I think, the one shot of the three approaching Thanos, but they're going to fight Thanos.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we get it. But for terms of the structure of the movie and everything else, no one had a clue of how this was going to go. Much to Disney / Marvel Studios credit. So, Ian, what did you think about Avengers Endgame?
I mean, I don't know that I can get huge. There's a lot to it. I think I enjoyed Infinity War more, but Endgame was the end that we needed. I enjoyed the structure of the movie, though. I enjoyed them all pairing up or grouping
There's
up.
basically three different hours of movie.
Right.
First hour is the gloom and setup. Second hour is the time heist. The third hour is the big battle.
Right. So the second hour I loved. I really enjoyed the the time heist.
Time heist, as Ant-Man coined.
The time heist aspect of it, I thought it was really good. The doom and gloom, it was interesting. It was interesting to see, kind of how they pictured it in the 5 years since. They did a good job of making that world seem empty, even though there weren't any... How do I put it? There weren't any huge establishing shots necessarily of how empty it was. There was a couple. But,
there was City Field or the Mets play.
That's okay. But you got a really good sense of the fact that 50% of
the neighborhood, when Scott walks down the neighborhood and the kid gives him that look and he's like, where is, because 50%'s a lot.
Yeah.
Like in Pat's Thanos dreams, I always say a plague to knock out 15%. That would be okay, you would notice it, but not really. Half the people would be I don't know how long it would take society to recover from that.
Sure.
Because you're talking about government infrastructure breaking down. Forget about entertainment. Sports will be able to come back, but all your bands are gone. Hollywood is in ruins with half the people gone.
Fortnite was still there.
We'll get into that. But you see what I mean, though? Half is a considerable amount of people. That's every family. By chance, should have, if it's a four-person
if you live in a nuclear
family,
you're
a nuclear family. By odds, at least one person should be gone. If all four of you are intact, you beat the odds. But another family was almost wiped. You know what I mean? Someone else is wiped out. So I was thinking that in my head, this would be rough. Everyone will be depressed because half your friends are gone, or half your family by odds are going to be gone. And then what do? Do you have survivor's guilt? How do you even recover? What does your job still exist? The podcast, what if I'm gone and Ian's here? Does that still exist? Half the YouTubers are gone. I try to make light of it, but think about that, how things would break down.
Sure.
They would. So when they show Citi Field, where the Mets play, which if you snap your fingers, doesn't matter because the Mets suck every year. But all the cars are still in the parking lot. It was empty.
Yeah.
So baseball hadn't come back in 5 years. And that's a possibility. Who do you have? Do you have the people even remove those cars, like to clean up?
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts.
Actually, I thought about that. How are we going to clean all this up? They really kind of left the cleanup.
Also happened during a Mets game. I guess that they weren't missing out on much.
Sure.
But then they had the Captain America. Steve led the grief counseling group.
Yep.
And
I like
one of the directors, Joe Russo, was the man speaking about getting back into dating. I like that. I think that was nice to show that Steve was doing that. There was a lot of callbacks in this movie I'll get into. But so you like the movie overall?
I like the movie overall. I had a couple of issues at the end. The thing is, there's not a whole lot about that movie there's not a lot of ideas I have to change it. Because there's some, but not a lot, because they had the task of putting an end cap on 10 years of movies is incredibly daunting.
Sure.
You're not going to fill every hole. You're not going to tie up every loose end. You're going to have to fudge some of it. And I went into that expecting that to be the case, and it was fine. I didn't have high expectations for it to wrap everything up super neat and clean.
Oh, I thought they would address things, though, that I wrote down this list of things how to talk about in order so we don't miss out on things. Like, okay, we'll talk about the different character arcs of really the main 6 Avengers.
Yeah.
So Hawkeye, you kind of saw that coming from the trailer where, the bow and arrow, and that's how the movie opens. These are spoilers, by the way, if you didn't realize this. So the movie opens and his family gets dusted, which is like harrowing, and it was done tastefully.
Yep.
You see a little bit of it, but you don't see no one wants to see a little fucking 4-year-old disappear. So it's done tastefully. He disappears. He's like, what? He's like, what's going on? You hear the thunder, then boom.
Yeah.
You see the 10 years of Marvel Studios. Like, oh, okay, this is gonna be some dark shit. And the first 45 minutes is pretty dark.
Yeah.
Everyone's just depressed and like, what the fuck? Crying.
It's a relentless downer. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to let up here. Well, they go after Thanos. So that subverted expectations because you thought, okay, it's going to take a while to build up to Thanos. Like, no, let's go get this asshole right away.
Yep.
And they get him and they kill him in like a minute.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, I see that. So this is my question. No, and this is one of my main problems about things they didn't bring back. So one of the main themes that they established in Infinity War was that Thanos really was heartbroken over having to, trade Gamora for the Soul Stone. And you really don't get a sense of that. You see Thanos, he's limping. He's obviously still hurt. He didn't heal himself with the stones. I don't know if that was guilt or not, but I really wanted to see them acknowledge that maybe Thanos regretted doing what he did because he was so hurt over having to murder what he considered his daughter in order to do that. And that was sort of glossed over. I thought that was going to be a much bigger theme in the movie. I really did. I thought that was going to carry through. And no, that's gone because they take his head off, and that version of Thanos is gone
right
immediately. So that's the one thing I would say about it that bothered me was that Thanos, 2018 Infinity War Thanos, was very interesting. 2014 Thanos villain we got in the movie is not interesting. Not nearly as interesting because of that, of those dynamics being lifted out. He's big bad Marvel villain again, and that's it. So that to me was a big loss because there's less emotional stakes involved when you see Thanos fighting that version of Thanos, 5-year-old Thanos fighting. He doesn't know who anyone is. He even says to Scarlet Witch, "I don't know who you are."
Right.
So there's less stakes involved between the two sides. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It was. I questioned that as well, mainly because, the end of Infinity War is it's him looking at.
Yeah, he's talking to them. He's talking to Scarlet Witch. He's like empathizing with her.
No, I'm talking about the end with Gamora.
Oh yeah,
of Infinity War.
What did it cost? Everything. And he's fucking crying.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, maybe this movie would deal with his guilt, and maybe he did the wrong thing, or if he still thought he did the right thing, he has to live with this now, and that maybe he regret. That's gone because he's killed off, and we don't know. We see him making his cute little T-shirt, his little Mack Weldon shirt. We see him making his little things, and he's hanging out. He's obviously not, and he's hurt. His face is all messed up, and you know what I mean. And then he gets offed. Speaking of that, I liked that they toned down the comedic moments. That was my big problem with Infinity War, was too much out of place comedic moments. This one really didn't have that to the same extent.
I felt it was the same in both.
It wasn't shoehorned in like the I am Groot, I am Steve Rogers stuff, I thought.
The humor there, the humor in this one was worked in well. How do I put it? I feel like there was a lot of good depression humor. Certain people, when they are very sad, use humor to deal with that. There's some self-deprecating humor, and it was. I enjoyed that aspect of it. The humor, you're right, it didn't seem as out of place, and they didn't make it as, I guess, wasn't as much a bunch of one-liners. They
worked it in better.
Yes,
they
exactly.
integrated. Well, thanks for listening to me, Russo Brothers. I appreciate that. Fans of the CU podcast. But in terms of character arcs, Hawkeye, I loved Hawkeye's arc. He loses his family. He becomes a Ronin. That was one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
In Japan, that was an awesome scene.
That was good.
A little samurai sword fight, basically. It kills him. And then Black Widow is watching, like, okay, hey, Clint, I know you're fucked up. We found you. Black Widow's arc I thought was outstanding.
Oh, it was really good.
She goes from someone that if you look at the course of all this movie, she goes from someone that's just a heartless, cold killer. She learns to like the people around her with the Avengers.
The sandwich scene with her and Steve Rogers was great.
Yeah, so you can see her. She developed not the most of all his characters, but arguably she had the biggest arc out of everyone over the past 10 years. We first saw her in Iron Man 2 in 2010. The only reason for that movie to exist probably to introduce her, because otherwise the rest of the movie is so forgettable. But anyway, and then she has this family now around her, and then she sacrificed herself to save the family,
right? Which
I thought was really heartfelt. And when I read that they were considering sacrificing Hawkeye instead with that scene, they weren't sure which way to go. But they said, no, we shouldn't deny the audience her going out like this. Is probably the best exit for her.
I thought it was going to be Hawkeye. That was one of the few parts of the movie. I knew they were going to have to. I knew that Black Widow was going to have to go somewhere somehow. I didn't think it was going to be that. That did surprise me. I really thought, okay, Hawkeye's the easy choice here.
It was too easy almost. That's why you do Black Widow, because in the audience is like, shit, we got to see this again.
Because I like Hawkeye, but his role has always been more minimal than anyone else's.
And it's tough. It's really tough to have the story where you fight to bring back your family, but then the family's got to wonder, where's daddy? Like, that's a little bit too dark.
Sure.
It's like, holy shit. But the fact that Hawkeye was willing to sacrifice himself showed like their friendship, that they talk about it. You see it kind of in the movies, which is why I want to see this. If they do a Hawkeye series, I want to see it referenced or her show up. Or if they do it, they're supposedly still going to do a Black Widow movie. I'd like to see them together more, because that's a good dynamic there, that you can see the chemistry, but you don't see their past adventures of what they went through together. So that was interesting. I just thought Nebula should have mentioned, hey guys, when you go to Vormir, that's where Gamora died, so maybe there's something up with that. I thought that was one of my problems was the arbitrary team ups for the different team splits. Like you had Nebula with War Machine. Doesn't make any sense, but okay. But let's put Hawkeye with Black Widow. They're the only two that don't have any superpowers. Why would you put those two together if not for the fact that they have that relationship? That was the only thing where I was like, okay, you got to write it in. But what did you think about them repeating a dramatic scene, literally repeating a scene from a previous movie? Did you have a problem with that, or you didn't mind that?
I didn't have a problem with it. If it was a shorter movie and it had really cut something else out, that probably would have bothered me. I didn't mind it so much.
Okay. Captain America's arc, I thought, was satisfying. This is how I say Endgame was satisfying. I don't think it was great. I think it was satisfying, the movie. It did what it had to do. It was, I didn't think it was good as Infinity War. I think it fell short of that.
I think in some ways it was better than... Infinity War was a little too relentless.
You think so? Just a little bit too much?
It was a little too relentless.
But it kept building. Infinity War kept building and building and building.
That's not a good thing necessarily,
really?
To me. I mean, I like Infinity War a lot. It was the first Avengers movie I watched more than once. I watched it twice. I saw it twice in theaters. I enjoyed it. But my complaint, even back then after we saw it, is Infinity War did not feel like a whole movie. Infinity War felt like the first half of a movie.
Well, it's like The Empire Strikes Back. It's a movie. You don't like the ending, but it's a movie.
It wasn't even that I didn't like the ending. It was just the pace of it didn't feel...
Okay.
Empire Strikes Back to me felt like a full movie. Endgame or Infinity War, and maybe it's because I know a little bit more about the characters, just felt like
it
was half. This did as well, but I think the way they started it and ended it, it felt a little bit more complete in terms of an actual film for me. Yeah.
I was gonna say about Captain America. I'll talk about Captain Marvel in a bit. Captain America, Steve. I don't mind how he ended up. I really expected him to die. I really thought they were gonna rally around his death. I thought that would have been poetic, especially when he gets up. The great shot of him standing against Thanos' army.
Yeah.
He starts walking forward. You're like, okay, here it comes. He's going to do something. He's going to get laid out. The other Avengers are going to see it, and then that's going to be the end of the movie. Like, it's going to be dramatic. And they have him end up with Peggy, my lovely Haley Atwell. I don't mind it. The only thing that bothers me about that is that Carter, that the Agent Carter, Peggy, she herself moved on in her own series. She moved on from it.
Sure.
From not being around Steve. So now you're kind of undoing that.
Well,
even though they don't really, they did
different timeline.
They did acknowledge the series though, because Jarvis from the series shows up in 1970. It's the same.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's the only thing that kind of bothered me. Like Steve, the heart of Steve's character isn't looking for a lost love. It's nobility and service to your country. So they kind of.
I did see. This is where I disagree.
I understand people want to get a happy ending, but I don't picture Steve. This is okay. Here's the thing. They had to go out of the way to say that time travel in other movies is bullshit, like Back to the Future,
yeah,
and other movies where you can't change the present by going back in time. So, I guess in that universe, then as soon as Steve leaves, goes back in time, there's two Steve Rogers, or there was, because Steve helped the Avengers get to that point, but now he goes back in time and lives out his days without doing that. So you have to just sort of throw that out.
It's a separate line. That's what they're
sure.
saying. Each time you go back, you're essentially, I mean, you're branching off the timeline.
Sure.
But that was the only. If he had just gone back and they didn't
explain it,
they could have done something. I think it could have been handled a little bit better. Because my thing is this: okay, he's going back to drop all the Soul Stones and to basically close the timeline back up. But then if he stays back there with Peggy, he's opening up another timeline.
So the one thing I understand though, when he drops off the stone, wasn't it supposed to be 1970? Not after World War II?
They talk about it. They say he overshoots his...
he overshot? Is that what he thought?
Yeah, that's what they say. He purposely overshoots.
He goes back to 1945?
Yeah.
So he sees himself die in the water, and then he comes back afterwards?
Who knows? They mention it. My question was, how did he come back, and what happened after he came back? Did they just leave him sitting on that bench?
Not for us to know, Ian, because this is supposed to close a chapter here. We'll get back to that.
Sure.
Captain Marvel, you can tell the Russos didn't know what to do with her because she's so overpowered, so they got to kind of leave her away.
That was true. That's a character that's going to do fine in
cosmic stuff,
in her own movies and in cosmic stuff, but where they can write the movie entirely around her powers and things like that. Yeah, how do you do that in Endgame? Well, you say that there's a billion other planets that need help.
But even at the end, it's like, why isn't she there sooner? She knows Thanos is there. She waits until the
Earth is her home planet.
Yeah, it's sort of...
That didn't ruin it for me, but
it didn't ruin it, but now you can tell why overpowered characters, I don't like them, because it's too simple. She could have wiped out everything herself.
Right. And that's something you have to work with. And they only had her in certain spots, and I thought the spots she was in were fine, but yes, it didn't... Right. Overpowered characters can
because like Superman can do less than her.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
so once you get to that point, it's her, and like Silver Surfer I think is more powerful than her. Like those are the two characters that like can do anything really and have unlimited energy. It's too much. So keep them in space. Keep them in space.
Although they did it was how was Thanos dealing with her time stone? What stone was he using?
He took the power stone off and punched her.
Yeah, there could be some interesting... I mean, there are interesting ways to work with it. I just don't think they put enough time into it. They had enough they had to do with the movie.
Yeah, so that was fine. But I can tell the Russos are like, yeah, I don't know what we should do with her, but whatever. Some people were pissed she wasn't in the movie more. It's fine. She just showed up. I don't think she should have been in the whole 3 hours because she just showed up.
My only problem with it was I wanted to know what was going to happen with Fury. The post roll at the end of Captain Marvel is where's Fury, and we don't even see Fury until
the end of the movie with Maria Hill.
Yeah.
By the way, they did a good job bringing everyone back. I missed William Hurt. I didn't see him. Was he at the Tony's funeral? Because he was in the credits for William Hurt, General Ross.
Yeah, he was there.
He was. Okay, so he was there.
He was there.
Martin Freeman wasn't. The son of Ross wasn't. Little Ross wasn't in there, so he was the only one that wasn't there. Little Ross wasn't there, and they sort of forgot about Peggy Carter's great niece that made out with Cap, in Civil War.
Oh,
what was it? Sharon Carter?
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of just forgot that was a thing. Because then if that's still around, you can't go back in time to get Peggy. I just thought that was interesting. They could have did something with that to explain that, but they just totally ignored that.
I liked the nod to Iron Man 3.
They got the kid back there.
Yep.
I was like, okay, because that movie otherwise doesn't really fit into the rest of these, but which is fine. You can do that, but it was good to see.
I really like that movie, but yeah.
I like Iron Man 3 a lot too.
Yeah.
Mandarin stuff, you get over it. So Thanos wasn't as interesting to me. The final battle I thought was underwhelming. And I actually read this morning that it was planned to be longer.
Okay.
Because when I see that battle, you see it patchwork together to me, and there's no real beginning, middle, end like there is with the Wakanda battle. There was a beginning, middle, and end.
You mean
in Infinity War?
Yeah.
Yeah. This did not have that. This was just orgasm, comic splash pages of all these guys doing stuff. Everyone gets their little moment. Like you had Tony and Pepper spin around together shooting. You got a little bit of Drax. You got a little bit of Black Panther running with the gauntlet. You got, I'll get into Spider-Man annoying me later. But that's what you got. You got these little, but they still missed out on characters in the battle. Hulk didn't do anything significant. Hulk never got his comeuppance on Thanos in any way. You didn't get anything with Groot really talking to Rocket and reuniting. So there was stuff missing here. It seemed like it was either rushed or they figured they had to cut something because it was just too big and wouldn't work. But I really was disappointed in that final battle. I really was. I was expecting something. I'm not saying I expected Helm's Deep from like Two Towers, but there really wasn't. I couldn't follow what was happening. Besides, the glove goes here. They go towards Quantum Realm. He blows it up, fights Captain Marvel, fights Scarlet Witch for a second, and then Tony grabs the jewels. Like that, it seemed like it was over like that, at least to me.
Yeah, it did seem a little. It didn't have the flow of Infinity War or even some other of the movies. I thought it more or less did what it needed to do. It needed to show some action. It did a decent job of spotlighting a few characters. But it was very, very sudden.
Yes.
And for some of those characters, that was the only thing you saw of them in the movie. And,
yeah.
And once again, 3 hours. You've only got so much time to work with. This is the whole thing that I'm thinking the entire time I'm watching it.
But once you're at 3 hours, though, you can go 3:05.
But any amount of like reuniting or camaraderie as they come back before the battle would have been
better than that big build
basically up. It's wormholes and then everything opens back up and then fighting. Yeah, some sort of acknowledgement between the group that was still there and the group that just came back, like something like that.
Yeah, because Rocket's on War Machine's shoulder instead of going over to Groot and saying, "Oh my God," like because it's like a father-son relationship, things like that.
You could have had a few minutes.
I was shocked that Hulk did not get in a shot in with Thanos. I thought that was really bizarre because he got trounced in the beginning of Infinity War. He got punked out, and then you think like something would have happened where he would want slight revenge. Not saying that'd be total motivation, but they totally ignored that. I just didn't understand that. That to me was almost like they didn't have time. They couldn't fit it. They wanted to keep the movie shorter, or a combination. I do know this, that they were looking for CG artists a month before release still for the film. So they were still working on this movie, or still looking for extra help. So, all right. Spider-Man, you're losing me, guys. I'm tired of Spider-Man whimpering and cowering in every single film that he's been in. I am sick of seeing it.
It didn't bother me.
Well, you don't follow the character or know what he's like. He's not, I'm scared. Oh, save me, Captain Marvel. Really? We can't see him jump around, avoid some of the beasts, web up a few. Hulk comes in and just punches them out, like something cool like that. Instead, he's got to rely on his stupid suit and the instant kill mode. He doesn't have that. He didn't ever have that for 50 years, a fucking suit to do that shit. Really annoyed. Sorry. I'm over whimpering, wimpy Peter Parker in these movies. I am. Besides, okay, things missing. I mentioned Hulk not getting any comeuppance. which I thought was weird. No Gamora, Thanos stuff. With the guilt, we have new Gamora. Well, we have 2014 Gamora that's now in the current timeline. So that's interesting. So that's how they brought her back. Yeah. But she's not with the Guardians. She's not with Nebula. I loved Nebula in this movie. I loved the performance of.
Yeah, Nebula was great in this movie. Ant-Man was great in this movie.
Paul Rudd's fantastic.
No, I'm just saying, you know, for all of the this is another thing that helps me forgive the movie in a lot of ways, though. For all the characters that didn't get focus. What are you looking at?
Your LWO shirt? I just noticed that. Is that a real LWO shirt?
Okay, real sorry. LWO shirt. I've had this shirt. This shirt is legal to drink now.
Okay.
But they really did put a good focus on some characters that haven't really had a great spotlight in the larger movies. Obviously, Ant-Man has had 2 movies, and Nebula's been in 2 movies. But to see them
3 movies she's been in.
3. But to see them get that's what I'm looking for. To see them get focus as important characters in a larger overall movie is good. That's how you set things up for the future, is by making sure that people see these characters as truly powerful, meaningful characters.
Because you can potentially see Scott Lang becoming an Avengers leader in the next phase. You potentially could see that. You can see him sort of stepping up from being just goofball to...
Yeah, watching him step up was great in that movie.
Yeah. The humor, like I said, was good. We talk about the future of the MCU. And this is where things get dicey the more I think about this over time, because this is why comics don't kill off characters for good, because there's certain characters that are always more popular than others, and then you'll see the interest decline when they're gone. So Captain America's story is closed. Yes, you could in this timeline even bring him back with the super soldier serum. You make him young again, replace the actor. They kill off Tony entirely. Okay, I actually thought he was going to survive in some capacity and become an elder figure, but they closed his gap. Plus, he caused a lot of this shit to begin with. He created Ultron. You know, he did a lot of this stuff.
I really liked Iron Man's arc. I thought he got to go out as a hero and he gained redemption. Sure. I mean,
and it paid tribute because he was the first guy in this MCU.
Yeah. So I can't complain about that.
Yeah, it was good. It was heartfelt. I thought it was interesting how he didn't even get a word in after he's died. He just was looking around and. You can sleep now. Pepper was okay with it. Pepper knew that he had to do this to save everyone. So it was actually very heartfelt. People were crying in the theater, and the funeral was done well. It had his Pepper gave him this proof Tony has a heart, little plaque from the first movie. And so it was, and I think when they put their fists in above the thing, it actually looked like the same thing too.
Yeah.
They put their fists in.
I think so.
So that was done well. But now you think about the MCU not having Captain America, Iron Man for the next 10 years, potentially.
Well, you do get Captain America.
But Steve, I'm talking about. You're going to get Falcon, potentially. Falcon's not Steve.
It's still Captain.
It's not the same character. It's not. It's not Ian. It's Falcon.
But it fills the hole.
Steve, I like Falcon. Falcon's not Steve. So this is the point. I see interest waning a bit with these guys being gone, just naturally, because these are the heavy hitters. In 10 years, if Spider-Man, if they write out Spider-Man in 10 years, we'll just say, obviously I'm going to be less interested because I like Spider-Man. So they're going to have to bring these characters back. That's my point. They're going to have to bring these characters back at some point and just recast them. They have to. We can't have an MCU 20 years from now with like the C-listers and D-listers running it.
20 years from now, sure, but I think they're probably fine for the next
10 years,
4 or 5. Maybe not 10, but I would say 4 or 5. By doing the MCU the way they've done it, I think you're relying. I think you're thinking people rely too much on those big names. Over the course of 10 years, they've conditioned viewers to care about other characters.
They have, but not. I don't think to the same extent you can replace Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man. These are the A-list Marvel guys now with characters that Ant-Man is cool and the Guardians are cool, but now you got to introduce a bunch of characters. But now you're really going to the well. You're really going to the well of familiarity, and it's like there's a reason why you start with a certain characters, and I'm glad they worked in Hawkeye and Black Widow because those aren't A-list characters to fill those holes. I just think they're going to have to bring these characters back sooner than they think.
If you start working Fantastic Four and the X-Men into it, I don't think you do. You just shift your focus.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to have to be sooner than later. I think that.
Do you think like 10 years maybe they'll think about recasting them?
Sure, by 10 years, maybe even 5, but I think they're going to do their best to stay away
for like 5 years, for at least the next phase at least.
Yeah,
it's like 3 years per phase roughly, something like that. That's how they've been doing it. Yeah,
I guess. Yeah,
3 years.
So I don't think it's the end of the world. I'm excited to see what happens. Also, we didn't talk about Fat Thor. The biggest thing
I love Thor in this movie. I fucking love Thor.
Chris
Hemsworth is
fantastic.
Chris Hemsworth is like has become the MVP of the MCU. Like you look at like how well Robert Downey Jr. has done. Chris Hemsworth has been out of this world. I don't think they realized how funny Chris probably was when they cast him originally.
So my biggest takeaway is I can't fucking wait for Guardians 3.
Oh yes.
That if there was, and we'll get to that later, but if there was a post-credit scene, that would have been the scene. You get what I'm saying? That would have been the mid-roll scene.
Because you don't know where he's going off to, then they discover, oh my god, he's on the ship with them.
So there was a mid-roll scene in
a way,
in feeling, but yes, there wasn't actually, and that was it, him getting on the ship, and I was like, oh, I can't fucking wait for this.
Because supposedly the script's already written, so I guess this is what we're going to see. I guess it's supposed to be next year then.
Yeah,
because he has to do fucking Suicide Squad first. God damn it, Disney, you really had to fire him. He's got to do Suicide Squad, and then he's going to come back and do Guardians 3. Right. And they can work Gamora back in Nebula. It's new Nebula. It's past Gamora, who doesn't have the relationship with what's his name, Star-Lord, Peter Quill. Right. So that's interesting that they reboot that, because she's like, really, this guy? That was a funny line. Yeah. So either that or the tree. That was funny. I love Nebula. I loved Thor. They threw in the Fortnite tie-in. I didn't mind it. I really didn't. I know that they had that relationship. I didn't mind it.
Whatever. It was
funny. That was the biggest thing. They hid Fat Thor from everyone.
Banner Hulk was great too.
Banner Hulk was great. I thought there would be more. I thought they would have shown the combination. Speaking of that, they set up two things in this movie potentially. They definitely set up one.
Okay.
The earthquakes by Wakanda, underground, under the water.
Oh, sure.
It's our buddy Namor. Mm-hmm. He's probably gonna be in Black Panther 2. So they're already working the Fantastic Four. I'm excited about that. And the other thing, that I did not come up with this theory. I read this theory.
Okay.
That when Hulk puts on the glove and snaps people back, his gamma radiation is going to cause the mutants to appear. Some of the people that come back are going to be mutated because of him. That's what I read. That's actually not a bad idea of doing it.
Huh.
It's not a bad idea. It would make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because he's doing the snap. He's got the gamma radiation built into him. So maybe something went awry when he brought people back. I think that's a brilliant idea. They can explain it like, wow, now we got these people appearing with these powers, and they all happen to be some of the people that came back. What the fuck's going on? That's an easy way to do it.
Sure.
Otherwise, I thought it was going to be just Doctor Strange bringing it. I'll tell you one thing. I'm an idiot, but I thought when they pointed those guns up at the end, I totally thought to myself, that's either going to be Silver Surfer or someone from the Fantastic Four. I really thought for a second that's what that was going to be. When the gunships pointed up and Captain Marvel came in, I totally thought it was going to be something else at first.
Yeah.
I totally thought they were going to surprise us with something. That was because I was kind of like that. I was like, oh, fuck. I was waiting for one surprise, but no, they did reference Namor. Maybe we'll have the X-Men come in. I'm excited. I will say this. I will be shocked if we don't get a Fantastic Four movie 2 years from now for the 60th anniversary of the Fantastic Four, 1961. I'll be shocked if we don't see that. So, all right, there you have it. We can move on with the rest of our podcast. Oh yeah, so I like the movie. I would watch it again, entertainment value, but I don't think it was as tight a movie as Infinity War or still The King is Winter Soldier. That's still the king of all these movies.
Yeah, that's what Vonnie said. That's where I more or less agree too. Although I got to be honest with you, just because it almost shouldn't count as an option. Ragnarok is really up there for me.
Ragnarok's up there.
Ragnarok is like just under.
It's a different type of movie.
Just under Winter Soldier for me.
Yeah, I'd put Ragnarok in the top 5 or 6 for sure. This movie I'd probably put maybe 6-ish, just because the big moments really hit, like Avengers Assemble. People lost their minds. I squealed like a little girl when Cap got the hammer. Like
everyone did.
Like I was just like, ah! Like I was like one of those. I was like, ah!
Everyone I talked to is like, yeah. I mean, you could hear it in the theater. Yeah,
yeah. Like it was nuts. Like the payoff was worth it. It definitely was. All right. Speaking of movies, Ian, we have the trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog. We're gonna watch.
Yes, I have not seen this yet.
I haven't either. On the obscenely expensive CU Podcastron 6000. We're gonna watch it right here. If I can bring it up. Sonic trailer. Where is it? I think this is on purpose. It's not letting me do it. It's saving us here. Okay. All right, let's get the mic in front of our faces here, and we're going to play this. What the? Oh, James Marsden. Speaking of X-Men. There he is, Ian. Wait, is this Coolio?
Yeah.
Minutes ago, an energy surge knocked out power across the entire Pacific Northwest. This needs someone who can figure out exactly what we're dealing with.
Oh, he's in the forest, Ian. Pacific Northwest.
We have no choice.
Oh, there's Jim Carrey.
All right.
Are you in charge here?
Yes, I am.
Nope.
I'm wrong.
I'm in charge.
Allow me to clarify. In a sequentially ranked hierarchy based on level of critical importance, the disparity between us is too vast to quantify. Agent Stone?
The doctor thinks you're basic.
Listen, pal. I don't know if you realize.
I'm sorry, Major. What was your name?
Benny. Nobody cares.
Oh, I like Carrey.
Yeah.
SFPD.
No.
Meow.
Why do you have teeth?
Oh, come on. Okay, pal. I want answers. Basically, it looks like I'm gonna have to save your planet.
What? Yeah, does his face look cool?
Oh, is that all you got?
No, but thank you for asking.
Uh-oh.
Whatever this creature is, our job is to secure it, neutralize it, see what makes it tick.
Okay, that was. Has a Genesis? Get it in?
Yeah, I got it. That's very funny.
Look at this. I took 9 million steps today.
Why Coolio? I don't get.
Stay in there and be quiet.
How much longer? I can't breathe in here.
Do you have your child in that bag?
No. I mean, yes, it's a child, but it's not mine.
Okay, that's funny.
Your child.
Smells like body spray in an old ham sandwich.
All right, I mean, okay.
I mean, given the reactions online, that's not the worst thing I think.
I was actually expecting worse than that. I was honestly expecting a worse trailer than that.
Yeah.
That actually is something I could actually picture seeing at some point in my life.
It's not going to be good. I mean, whatever.
Here's the issue.
I just can't care anymore. It's a fucking Sonic the Hedgehog
They have to do, like with the Smurfs movie, they have to bring humans into it.
Yeah.
They just have to for us to understand it. Plus, it's a cheaper movie.
Yep.
You know, because like that scene, like that's actually pretty funny. He's carrying Sonic around, but they can just shoot a scene with just people.
Right.
They don't have to have him interacting with little forest creatures and things and animate it all. Carrey looks good. I thought Carrey said at one point he's going to stop doing goofy characters. I'm glad he went against that because he's good. He's great at doing it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I honestly think Carrey, and I said this all the way back then, Carrey will probably
Carry the movie in a way.
fill the role just fine.
Sure. Robotnik / Eggman. What's the difference? I don't know. The same guy, right?
Eggman, yeah. We'll just call it that. Eggman, Robotnik, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look good, but it doesn't look as bad as I thought it would potentially
Sonic's
look.
voice is okay. I don't
Sonic's
mind.
voice is fine. I just don't like the look of Sonic.
You don't like the teeth now?
No.
Does he look better in motion versus still? I think he looks a little better in motion.
Slightly? That doesn't say a whole lot.
Yeah, but I think he looks better in motion. He does. I think. The eyes don't bother you as much?
The eyes bother me.
still-
They still bother me.
The teeth? Sonic's got to have teeth.
Nah, you don't need human teeth.
Were they human teeth?
They were human teeth.
They were?
Yeah, you don't need human teeth on animals.
What does hedgehog teeth look like?
I don't know, but you don't make them look like a fucking set of falsies. That's what you don't do.
They said of falsies? What are people saying? It looks like Dr. Seuss and Mike Myers in the outfit. People are comparing him to how Pikachu is in that trailer. I thought the animation looked fine on the road. That looked okay. I mean, I don't know how else he going to do it. James Marsden, okay. They're trying to get Chris Pratt originally. You know, they got budget Chris Pratt, I guess. For no, I like James Marsden a lot as an actor, so that's fine. It'll do okay. This would be November. Yeah. Oh, so Carrie's, I guess, mustache grows throughout the movie, and then he becomes bald. I'm seeing a picture of him.
That's fantastic.
I guess it's like a Lex Luthor thing, where something happens. Well, Lex Luthor, no, he had a wig in the Superman movie. God, I love Gene Hackman. Sorry. Anytime I talk about Gene Hackman, I will. Okay. Remember the end of Superman? He ripped off the wig. Well, he didn't want to shave his head for that movie too. For Superman the movie.
I didn't know.
Anyway, so it looks okay. Then I'm not a Sonic fan. This is like how Spider-Man is. Like I care about Spider-Man more than you. You care about Sonic more than me.
I feel completely neutral about this.
It's like how I felt with the G.I. Joe movie. I
have nothing to say about it. It's like I said, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to look, but not good enough to make me want to go see it.
Hey, marketing team, why the fuck would you use Gangster's Paradise for Sonic the Hedgehog and not something uplifting or using, I don't know, the Sonic theme or a variation of like something like, I just don't understand it. So let's say they had the ring, one ring with kids went through the ring. Mm-hmm. Obviously you have Eggman. You got his little vehicle pod thing, so you got that. You got Sonic rolling and being fast. So is there anything more you'd like to see, like with the creatures in the forest missing?
Or? A redo.
Just a redo?
Just a straight scrap and redo.
Do you have your spec script laying around somewhere for your Sonic movie?
It's somewhere. Honestly, if it's gonna be whatever, it's like a bowl of milk cereal.
A bowl of milk? So milk.
Milk, yes.
So it's a bowl of milk.
It's as plain and as boring as it could be.
It's just porridge?
Yeah.
With no flavor packs? With no sugar flavor?
It does nothing to excite me, yet it does not make me particularly sad.
It's like the G.I. Joe movie for me, where I was like, oh, here's a live-action G.I. Joe movie. Oh, they went so far off the rails where I can't even be angry anymore.
Right.
So
More or less.
Okay. All right. I think it's somewhat faithful, maybe, a little bit.
No.
So, okay, if he looked like how Sonic was supposed to look, would you be more excited?
I'd be slightly more interested.
Slightly. So it's not just the look, it's the plot. You think the plot's going to be a little weird. The military shit is like weak as hell. It is to me too.
Yes.
We got to stop and that was the actor from Band of Brothers.
And also from Justified.
Oh, he's in Justified too? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love that guy. I forget his name. Neil something. He was in Minority Report.
Yeah, he's good.
He's a really good actor. Anyway. Okay, so that's Sonic there. All right. Ian, news about the 3DS that we've seen it coming for a while.
So the 3DS isn't actually called dead yet. Still Nintendo will not call it dead or discontinued.
They didn't call the Wii U dead.
But or finished. They're not even calling it, they still haven't put their own period on the sentence. However, last year around this time, Nintendo had a meeting where they said they were going to support the 3DS into 2019 and beyond. And they listed off about 5 titles that were coming, including Luigi's Mansion, WarioWare Gold, and a couple other. Those were the first party ones. And then there were some third party titles heading out too. People were curious. They were wondering why, but I understood why they were keeping the system alive a little bit longer. Truly portable. I mean, the Switch is portable, but it's not something you could throw in your pocket or a backpack easily if you wanted it to stay safe. And it was cheaper. It was a lower barrier to entry. They still had stuff they could do with it. And I mean, it was probably still making them money. So I understand. And I love the 3DS, and I use my 3DS and my Switch in tandem. So to still get some new software, especially software that seemed to make sense for the 3DS, was cool. Now we're here about the same time as we were last year, and they had another meeting, and basically they did not announce anything. They didn't say. I don't think they said anything about the 3DS. So there is, no mention of, so according to this Kotaku article by Chris Kohler, there was no mention of the 3DS business in the briefing at all. There are definitely no Zero first-party games on the schedule for the 3DS, and I think in the U.S., just one in the U.S., I think that's Persona Q2, which is a dungeon crawler that makes good use of the second screen because it plays like Etrian Odyssey, so you can map yourself out on the bottom.
Okay.
So that appears to be it. They're hoping to sell 1 million 3DSs throughout the end of this year. They wanted to sell 4 million last year, and they only hit 2.5, which is not to say that the 3DS is doing poorly. It's just it's at the end of its lifespan.
Yeah, it's been out for like 7 years now, right?
Yeah, and the fact that it
6
even
years?
did 2.5 million units last year was pretty impressive. I mean, I think so. Their goal is to get 1 million. Depending on pricing and stuff like that, they might get close to it. And
Let's see. 3DS came out. Oh, it's 2011.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a good run. 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years for a handheld. I mean, it's
Nintendo really with their handhelds really stretches them out as much as they can.
Yep.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
it looks like it's the end of the 3DS, which ends the DS line, which started in 2004.
They've sold 69 million as of 2 years ago, so it's well over 70.
3DSs.
Yes.
So, bring just like the the Game Boy Color or the
I guess
Game
that
Boy
includes
Advance.
all models. The XL, the new 3DS probably includes all models.
But yeah, that's the end of that chapter. It was a fantastic system.
And it's backwards compatible with the DS.
Backwards compatible with the DS.
So the DS has like fucking almost 2,000 games. So I mean, like once you factor that in, 3DS isn't a huge amount of games compared to the DS, but when you factor both together, it's a huge library. You can still buy one and play a ton of games. Or go flash card. You can always do that. So I can see the system still selling here and there. I still can.
Oh yeah, they sell like crazy at work.
Yeah.
I'll come in at work one day and I'll see like 4 or 5 3DSs in the case, and I'll be like, well, I guess this is where they start to pile up. And then by the time I'm back at that store, they're all gone. I mean, they all sell. They all sell like crazy. They're perfect for kids, and the 3DS library itself isn't super expensive now. But then you mentioned like the DS back catalog, where games are a couple of bucks.
Is that how they are for like a common one?
Yeah, for 5. A lot of them are between like $3 and $10.
It's not like other systems where they really explode.
There are some that will have gone up in value, and I'm sure there are some that will continue to go up in value. But as of right now, if you're a parent who needs something for their kid to do, or if you just need a cheap way to entertain yourself on a flight and you're not really into games, picking up a used 3DS is kind of a no-brainer right now. You can get them for like $60.
This is the family. I forgot some of these. So we started with the 3DS.
3DS XL, new 3DS XL, 2DS, 2DS XL.
New 2DS XL.
Yes.
So there's 6 of them. So I did not know there was a new 2DS XL.
Yeah, that was the one that we talked about it on here.
Did we?
Yeah, because it's creamsicle colored.
It was the same thing, but they just knocked out the 3D stuff.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like
faster processor slightly, and they knocked out the
and it's not the bread shape anymore. It looks like a normal 2-screen.
And you get the 2 thumb pads, not the one.
Yeah,
that's the new. I remember that. I don't have a new. I don't think. No, I just have a regular 3DS. I never got a new one. A new.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a dumb fucking name for
stupid.
Nintendo. Yeah, because I'm confused now. It's called like Super 2DS XL. So okay. So they still sell. Obviously, they still sell the 3D, the new 3DS XL, the new 2DS XL. Obviously, the original ones they don't sell anymore. They discontinued the new 3DSs. They discontinued obviously the original one and the original XL. They discontinued. So you can still buy these. Let's see. Let's see. What's the current price for a 2DS XL? Let me look this up on eBay.
I think it's $150
retail. But like, what can you actually get one for if you really want to go online and get one? Because if these were new at $100, I might just buy one. Let's see, Nintendo 2DS new XL. What can I get one for? Get one for $100, refurbished. Is that from Nintendo? Nintendo sometimes that's how I got my 3DS. It was
That's how my buddy John got his Wii U. He played mine and was like, "Oh, this is cool." And
Nintendo sells them sometimes.
Wii U's were still, I think, $300 at the time. They were relatively new, and I think he got his for like $180 through Nintendo or $200. It was super cheap.
They do it every once in a while because they have an eBay account that does it. You can get one. You can get one for $125 new open box, a 2DS new 2DS XL, which is new. So okay, that's not bad at all.
No.
And you get the I want the creamsicle one. Was that in this country?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the creamsicle and the blue one.
Okay. So I mean, obviously, this could be one of those systems like we said. This will be around longer than we think. People will still carry these around. I think.
Oh yeah.
They'll still do the pass with everyone at conventions, and
people still carry around Game Boy Advance SPs, and not just gamers who are into playing that stuff. It's just sometimes that's all someone needs.
No, I love the SP.
Yeah,
you got the original Game Boy games, and you got the Advance games.
Yep. So
that's a huge amount of games.
So yeah, I mean, I think people sometimes forget the non-gaming crowd.
They're not real gamers, even though they play video games, so I don't know what that means.
What does that mean? The non-hardcore gaming crowd. Yeah, they will use this stuff until they don't. I don't know.
They don't have to have the current technology.
Yeah,
they're fun playing Super Mario Land still 25 years later.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make them any less of a person.
Yep.
So, all right, here's to you, 3DS. Well, I think we predicted to be gone by now, just about. I think I predicted last year I was wrong, but
yeah,
we predicted to be, slowly going the way of the
buffalo.
Of the buffalo. The buffaloes are back. What do you mean? The dodo's gone.
I'm just saying, go the way of the buffalo is the saying.
What's a dodo? Because dodos never came back. They're gone, Ian.
All right.
Buffaloes, you can still eat them. You can have burgers. You can't have a dodo burger.
That would be a bison.
A dodo chicken sandwich or dodo sandwich. Anyway, the CU Podcast is proud to be working with NordVPN. It's what I use to keep myself safe online, and you can too. If you care about the privacy and security of your info, NordVPN is giving you 66% off a 2-year plan when you go to nordvpn.com/CU Podcast or use code CU Podcast at checkout.
VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and today having a VPN is more critical than ever. Why? If you're doing anything online, your information and browsing habits are out there for anyone to get a hold of. When you use NordVPN, you have access to over 4,000 super speedy servers in 62 countries, and those connections secure your information using military-grade encryption. That means your information and what you do online is nearly impossible to track.
They got apps for your Android devices, for your Mac devices, iOS, use it on your PC as well. The folks at PC Mag made NordVPN their editor's top VPN choice. Just one account lets you protect up to 6 devices. There's other potential benefits as well, like hopping around the world and streaming from different locations that you may not be able to access in North America. Or if you're in Europe, you can't get some stuff in North America. Why is my voice like this?
I don't know.
Again, to get that special offer, 66% off a 2-year plan, 66% off. Go to nordvpn.com/CU Podcast or use code CU Podcast and get going with your secure web browsing. Ian,
Pat, tell me a story.
This is now becoming the official Atari ROM preservation podcast. But this is an Atari ROM. This is a story via Ars Technica that's making the rounds. There's an announcement made earlier this month. The digital preservations at the Dumping Union. That's a hysterical name.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. I guess those are the main folks. We'll keep that going. Made an important announcement in the world of arcade game emulation. Collective had gotten its hands on a ROM image of Aka R, an extremely rare Atari cabinet arcade prototype, and one of the most prominent remaining cabinets that had to this point never been available through emulation on MAME, which is multiple arcade machine emulator. We all love MAME. We love it. Okay, so this is where it gets weird. People aren't sure entirely how this got dumped and preserved. This ROM. This is almost like a documentary thing that could happen.
Yeah.
So I had heard of this. Of course, I've never seen one of these before in my life, so I can't comment much about this. But there's very few of these cabinets. They made prototype cabinets, and they were all in collectors' hands.
Three of them.
And you can play them, but only at special events because it's a rare cabinet.
Right.
So in that sense, to some people, it was preserved, but still the ROM, they didn't know the ROM was digitally preserved.
Right.
Because God forbid something happens, you can't get at it. So let's look at this game here. Let me just put the volume down just in case.
It looks like a missile command, only it's surrounded as opposed to
Use a trackball,
or maybe
potentially, or a spinner maybe, and then you shoot. You're in a circle. You shoot around. It's like a shooter, but you're stationary.
Yeah.
It's kind of like not Vectrex in a way. This looks really fun.
Yeah.
It's a combination of like
looks like
asteroids and like Missile Command, like a weird combination.
Yeah, or Missile Command and like a reverse Tempest. I don't know. It's interesting.
And it zooms in. This is a cool game. I'm on board. But the problem was that it wasn't preserved that we know about. So this is what the theory was, how this got out. That a technician working on the I guess arcade game collection of a person who owned one of these cabinets somehow went in, worked on other machines, and then surreptitiously, is that the word? Yeah, I think so, almost. Got whatever, his ROM reader, and then dumped the ROM while he was there. And then smuggled it out.
And that's the story that,
That's what people are claiming. The only thing I'm going to say is that this is not like dumping an NES game. You'd have to go and take out the chips off the board,
right.
Put each individual one into a reader. You would need time to do this. So if the owner didn't have knowledge of this, where was the owner, or was this like over the course of a whole day where someone was there on their own?
Was someone there like taking care of a bunch of machines that they could do this?
That's what it sounds like. So it was a bunch of machines, but working on a machine that maybe you wouldn't necessarily have to work on, getting in there and doing it. This, I can't picture this taking less than, God, what was it take? Like, you think like 20 minutes to do something like this?
I would assume longer if you're going to take the chips
take the board out,
them. Take
the chips out, put them each individual into the reader. You got to have your laptop or whatever there to transfer it. Put the chips back in the board.
And then you have to be real certain of yourself that you're not going to fuck anything up when putting them back.
Yes.
Because that would blow your cover immediately. And then you'd be in a real shit show of a problem. So the other, and we'll get into the possible ramifications and what this looks like in a second. The other theory is that one of the owners just finally decided to throw them up anonymously. And, did
one of the three owners.
One of the three owners put them up anonymously, basically leaked their own ROMs. And I'm imagining did it anonymously because they didn't want to upset the other owners of the cabinets, because potentially this could
affect the value
of the cabinet.
Oh, I'm so annoyed when I hear this shit. So this has been something in the community for years, like, because if you see these see these cabinets at an event, you're going to say, why can't you dump the ROM? Why can't you do that for the community?
Right.
Just in case. Plus, it'd be cool that we can also play this as well. But it's the stature of having it's the same reason why we almost lost the SimCity prototype for NES, because someone just wants to have, only I can play it.
Right.
This at least they can put them out for play. It's a prestige that I guess you have when you own a prototype that no one else can have easy access to. So I get it. I don't agree with it. I think it's a little slimy, but I get it.
So I hate the selfish attitude. I hate that aspect of it. But in the case that this was really a heist, in the case that these were really
not a time
stolen,
heist,
no, not a time
ROM
heist. But in the case that this is actually a heist and these were stolen, that's not fucking good either, because that's not how you bridge this gap.
No, it's not how you bridge this gap. But when you say they were stolen, what was actually stolen? Because the arcade owners don't own the intellectual property.
No, they don't.
To that game.
No.
So that wasn't stolen.
No,
you want to say they stole it from Atari, whoever else owns the rights to that game, you can make that argument. But the only thing that was stolen was an invasion of privacy of their machine and their hardware. Right. That was stolen.
Well, the invasion of privacy is pretty big.
That's big, but the ROM...
That's real big.
They don't... I can't underscore this enough. Those three rare cabinet owners don't own the intellectual property on that ROM. So
no, but they own the only 3 copies of the game.
Sure.
And they can decide what they do with them.
Crocodile tears to me.
So
I see what you're saying, though. You don't want to upset other people that potentially...
Because you have to look at it this way. You do that, and yeah, I mean that's slimy. I agree. I want the ROM out there, and I don't believe they don't own the intellectual property, and I believe it should be available for everyone. However, that's only going to raise suspicion and raise tensions between
other people that own
rare stuff. People who own rare stuff and people who want to dump it. You can't do that, and even if it's is bad faith the right word I'm looking for? Even if you weren't going to get them to come around any other way, now they have an example they can point to and be like, no, this is screwed up. I'm not giving you my stuff because this is how this half of the scene acts. It's a way to build bad blood, and it can now they have something to point to. I think
there's already bad blood, but the fact that they act selfish, it's already bad blood.
Yes. I'm not in their corner, but
yeah.
You don't need to do it that way.
Sure. Well, here's what the Dumping Union CEO said. There were only 3 machines ever built. All are in high-end collections. One collector had a tech come and work on some of his games. The unscrupulous tech copied the ROMs without permission. The game was not broken and not one he was supposed to, quote, fix. The owner is reviewing a couple of months of security video to see if he can catch him in the act. This is the first time that someone has actually had the balls to steal ROMs from a collector. So here's the deal, though. What are you going to get him on? What would you arrest him on?
I don't know, invasion?
Vandalism of your arcade cabinet? Because you didn't steal anything. The cop's going to be like, what did he steal? Well, he took some digital information from this game. The cop's going to be like, oh, that's not a crime.
I mean, yeah, it probably is if you own the machine. If someone comes in and takes shit off your computer when they're not supposed to, even if you don't own it or made it, that's still an invasion of privacy. There's a crime there somewhere.
Okay, so...
If I come in and just start grabbing shit off your computer and leave...
Well, it's not his computer. It's an arcade cabinet.
But you're still getting data.
Here's the thing. Here's the only thing I can say. You came into my game room. You saw an NES game. You copied the ROM from the NES game onto your computer. Right? This is basically what happened from a ROM board. That's what you did. So I can be upset that you did something you weren't supposed to do, but you didn't steal anything from me. You didn't. You didn't steal anything. Because I don't own that ROM to chiller, Ian.
Well, no, but I still did. There's got to be something illegal about coming into someone's house doing shit.
He was invited in to fix other stuff.
Yeah, and he did what he wasn't supposed to do.
All right, so then that's a misdemeanor at some level. Okay, I get it. It was an invasion of privacy of a machine.
I can't back that up. I'm glad the ROM is here, but I'm not going to make excuses or say that he's okay.
It's a crime. No prosecutor is gonna prosecute that case.
I don't think that's okay. I don't think that's an okay way to do it.
Well, but here's the thing, though. If this doesn't happen, this is what happens. When this person dies, someone's gonna buy this machine, and either the cycle continues or someone comes in and says, "I'm gonna buy it." And I'm going to be one of the only person that has 3, but I will dump the ROM. This is just time. This is a timing for this stuff to happen. That's really what it comes down to. This stuff's not going to be undumped forever. It just can't.
Sure.
If it's a lost game, there's a couple lost NES games that I forget the one of them. I think one was a Color Dreams game. They still don't know what happened to the guy who owns it. And that was like the last time I heard of him was like 15 years ago. Then that's a potential. For an arcade machine like this, I think you're always going to know where it's at. So in that respect, I agree with you that eventually these are going to get dumped somehow. But we don't have to worry about it now because now it's dumped. So... honestly, it bothers you more than me at this point. And honestly, the value of these games does not go down because of the ROM getting dumped, because the arcade cabinets, there's only 3 of them still.
Oh, I don't see the value ever going down on those. There's 3 in their full cabinets.
They're full, beautiful arcade cabinets.
If anything, I could see it. And
it just goes up potentially because people can play the game and think, oh, this is really cool.
I think it's mentioned in the article. Yeah, now that people can play it and there's only 3 of them, it might actually increase the value.
Let's see. I talked to Atari collector Scott Evans. Let's see. Collecting. Evans also owned 2 cabinets of Marble Man, the prototype sequel to Marble Madness, which is seen as another undumped Grail accessible. I always wanted to play that, the Marble Madness one. I think it was like a couple of arcades they put it in. Then there's Bradley Trainer, a version of Atari's Battlezone modified for U.S. military training. Evans apparently discovered the only known extant cabinet for that next to a dumpster outside of the closed offices of Midway. So there's more than one of these that are undumped still.
Yes.
So that's we don't know about as much because obviously consoles are it's a much bigger scene with console games versus arcades. But all right,
I'd honestly rather someone just fight a person for the ROM.
What do you mean, like in a ring?
Yeah. Just beat him up and take the
ROM. A cage?
Yeah.
Versus doing like this sneakily?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd rather see cage fights.
I see the harm in this, Ian, I do. But I mean, it's like when you look at the balance of justice, sorry, I don't again, it's crocodile tears to me.
Sure.
It's the balance of justice of 1% of people might think that, oh, it's their right to hold on to the intellectual property of this versus the greater good saying, well, it's really bad if you do that. I get some people email arguing that, whoa, they own the intellectual properties. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
They own the vessel it's contained on.
Yes.
If I died tomorrow, I couldn't have Norm couldn't go print copies of my book just because I'm gone. That's not how it works. I mean, he could, but he'd be in trouble. As someone who owned the estate owns the rights to that game. Abandonware doesn't hold up in court. It doesn't. That's not how copyright works. If an author of a book dies, just because no one's there to produce that work or to care for it doesn't mean someone else can automatically do that. It has to fall out of copyright first. So people have to brush up on their copyright law. You can disagree with it, but that's the way it works at the end of the day. Okay. All right. So I want to play this now. I'm gonna boot up.
Does look good.
I haven't updated my MAME in probably like 12 years.
Probably not.
You know, and the only problem with that, when you update the MAME, they correct it, so then your old ROM set doesn't work because they fudge some of the old ROM sets to work with it. So in order to make it more accurate, the old ROM sets don't work anymore. So then Pat can't play Paperboy easily, for example. Okay. Ian.
Yes.
What's going on with Best Buy and the PlayStation Classic?
So Best Buy had a promotion, a 1-day flash sale promotion.
Oh, it was 1 day, huh?
Yes. 1-day flash sale promotion where you could buy a PS4 Pro and get a PlayStation Classic for free. That was from whatever time it started until I believe it was 10 p.m. Yesterday.
So you're saying it was a limited time?
It was a limited time, Pat.
Okay.
So I think it's funny. It's very Sony to me that they would give, and they called it like a $59.99 value or something like that. No, it's not. That value, there's no value. No one wants these.
It's a $20 value maybe, because didn't Walmart or Target have it marked down to like $25 at one point? I saw.
No one wants these, and to call giving one away for free with the purchase of the highest end PlayStation.
It's $400 for the PS4 Pro.
Yeah, for like a deal it's nuts.
Well, who would want that? Who's buying a PS4 Pro?
Right, exactly.
Who would waste their time to plug that piece of shit in if they got a PS4 Pro?
If you've got a PS4, I mean, it doesn't mean you can play all the games that are on there, but you've got something better to do when that package arrives than hook up that PlayStation Classic. It's just very Sony that they're giving away.
Well, this is probably Best Buy's decision, though, to do this.
Possibly.
I was going to say, Best Buy has these laying around, Ian.
Well, Sony was supposed to be buying some of them back from what I heard. So, yeah, they're just giving away their trash in an attempt to increase the
any
sales
store
of
could do whatever they want with the stock they buy wholesale.
Sure.
So this is probably Best Buy saying, we can push a PS4. We got probably literally a few thousand PS Classics laying around throughout our warehouses that we have to push.
Yep. We can say it's a $60 value because that's the arbitrary price we've decided to sell it for.
It was $100 originally.
Yeah.
But now it's $60. But now it's
and that's
$40.
Pushing it. Yeah.
How much is it on Target? I'm sorry, just keep going. I want to see how much is it on Target.com. I'm curious.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't see this actually being the thing that made someone go, you know what, I was waiting for the right time to purchase a PS4 Pro.
60 on Target.
And that time is now. Yeah.
So at that point, the wholesale cost of these was probably between $40 and $50 if they're selling at $100. So yeah, they're gonna just take a loss. They're just taking a loss.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bath.
And if Sony says we're gonna buy some of them back, unless they buy back all of them, that's a loss, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, they made some profit on the ones they sold, but if Best Buy is willing to just give them away for free, they don't know what to do with them because they're not selling in stores.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised this didn't. One of the things that really surprised me was that it didn't extend to all models of the PlayStation 4.
Well, they probably the margin's probably obviously more on the Pro, so they figured this will make up for the loss of us not being able to sell because they're losing $50 each one they give away potentially. $40 to $50, whatever it's wholesale at, probably around there. They're losing that to begin with, so you might as well buy the higher end so we make more money.
I guess.
You know, that's the only thing I can think of. Let's see. It's on Amazon brand new. It's $40 Prime for a PlayStation Classic,
and that's still not selling them.
And that's the Amazon price. So that's really the price, and it's regularly $43. So they're not matching Amazon. Imagine how many Amazon has. Yeah. Well, Amazon fulfills them, I guess. No, but let's see. Who's fulfilling these? Who's selling these on Amazon? Sold by Devon Tech Inc. and fulfilled by Amazon. Boy, you took a bet, Devon Tech Inc. I don't know how many you bought or you got them cheap from somewhere. Fulfilled by Amazon. So that's the main one. So $43. So you're breaking even then at that point, selling them.
Yeah.
You're taking a bath.
If you can sell them.
Unless you're buying them from some like liquidation for like $10 or $20 each and making money. Holy, what a disaster.
Well, I think a lot of people expected this to be a thing. Or stupid people expected this to be a thing. Like the NES Classic. I think most people knew that it wasn't going to be very quickly before it even released.
There's not that type of nostalgia love in that level anyway for those systems. There isn't.
Well, and I really do think it's the poor reviews, the
selection,
the leak of the fact that it was running some PAL versions, etc. I think that really did do a number on it.
Sure.
Because I know people who had them pre-ordered and canceled when that news started to come out. So that was a bad enough reveal that it actually shifted people from buying it. But there were still people who were trying to hoard them. I mean, I remember when they came out, it was still hilarious that, there'd be stacks and stacks of them, but a sign there that says only one per customer. Sony and scalpers completely misread this.
Good. I hope this person scalped them or tried to then.
Yeah.
Devin Tech, or I'm not saying you did, but if you were a scalper, poo on you for doing that. All right, I'm in for $15. Once they're brand new, $15, I will buy one.
I've decided I'm not in for any amount of money.
You wouldn't buy it for $5?
There's no fucking reason for me
if I wanted to swap me, I'll call you 7:30 in the morning for $5. You don't want one?
No, I don't. I would rather spend that $5 on a sandwich.
I haven't been in the swap meet in like 7-8 months almost at this point. Jesus Christ. I wonder if the NES Classics are out there or Super Nintendo Classics are out there yet. I wonder.
I get more people calling to see if we would buy them.
Oh, really?
And we don't.
For the NES one?
NES and Super. To see if we would buy them, and the answer is always no. We don't sell plug.
You can't warranty them, right?
Yeah, I can't warranty them. But the people who do, I kind of try to feel out what they kind of want for it.
Uh-huh.
And they all think it's worth
a lot more.
A lot of money still.
Because of scalpers?
Yes.
Sorry, the little plug came out of this on my I didn't know what that was. I couldn't drink.
You've been futzing with it.
Yeah, because I was like, why can't I drink out of the straw? This little thing, the air hole.
I see.
Why do you make that removable?
I don't know.
Anyway, sorry.
Right.
Thanks, Lisa, for this. Appreciate this water bottle. All right, that's it for our PlayStation Classic news. Hopefully the last time we talk about it. Ian, this was kind of a weird story.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we're going to get out of this. An indie game was removed from Switch eShop after dev revealed it contained a hidden code editor. This comes via Nintendo Life, our pals at Nintendo Life, our favorite website that lives to talk about Nintendo, apparently. So, the game was called The Dark Room.
It was a text adventure.
The guy who wrote the game did it was Amir Rajan did it. It was up on the eShop for a few days. So it's like you said, it was a simple game, but it included a Ruby interpreter and code editor.
Yes. So Ruby is a high level code. So high level is assembly is low level.
Yeah,
and
ones and zeros.
And Ruby is high level. I can at least say that much with certainty.
High level basically means that the higher you get, the commands and functions are drawn out for you so that you can just put in words to do that stuff. That's the best way I can explain it.
More or less.
Yeah.
So, so there's a Ruby editor in there, and it was supposed to be an Easter egg. Basically, you attach a USB keyboard and you press the tilde button, and it pulls
the little top left.
Yeah.
Love a tilde.
And then it would open up this editor, and you could basically code in Ruby and run the code on your Switch.
Yeah, when you look at it, look at the pictures of it. Yeah, you have, let's see. Yeah, you have you see the command open up on it.
So, from what people have said, there's not a lot you could do with a Ruby editor with Ruby to truly hack your system. But the guy who made the game came out after Nintendo had cleared the okay for the game and put it up, came out on Twitter and just broadcasted to the world, hey, there's an Easter egg in here that gives you a code editor. And the game got pulled. I don't know what that person was thinking was going to happen. Because, especially like a code editor, one, anything that got past Nintendo that you didn't tell them about,
they're going to be pissed.
They're going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Two, a code editor sounds like it's just ripe for breaching security and cracking the system open. Whether or not you can actually do that with Ruby, I don't know well enough. People say no in a lot of the comments, but
I would say people will look into this to see.
Well, sure, but yeah, Nintendo did not know about it. Nintendo had no way to check it and make sure that it was secure.
Gives you a line editor, yeah.
So the way, the way that the person who published this kind of phrased it was, well, so they could modify the game, essentially kind of like a level editor. why you don't just try to sneak that through.
This is what Amir said to Eurogamer. I deeply regret how this is blown up. A simple toy sandboxed environment has been framed as this massive exploit. I guess you'd be able to program something cute within the game for whatever reason.
You could modify the text adventure.
Great. And of course, it's the community that exploits these things that push it up to that level. I'm partly to blame with my sensationalized media posts. I acted alone and stupidly. It was a last-second spark of inspiration. I snuck it in, assuming that plugging in a US keyboard and pressing the little squiggly tilde key wasn't part of the test plan. The past 3 days have been the worst days of my life. I don't know what to say except I'm sorry. All I wanted to do was allow kids and coding adults that have forgotten the joy to discover what I discovered 25 years ago. Let's see. The narrative that has played out online is exactly what's wrong with this trash can fire of a world. Everyone is an armchair expert. Everyone thought the worst. You've seen what I've been called, a dick, idiot, and everything in between because sensationalized news sells. If the narrative
Sounds familiar.
Yes. If the narrative was I added a sandbox to a dark room that lets you mod the game and provide a medium for kids to code and technical parents to show their kids what they do, it would have gone unnoticed. So it was pulled on April 26th. So, all right, there's two issues with here. One, you didn't let Nintendo know. Because maybe Nintendo could have went through and said, this is clear, this is fine. They have no fucking clue what can be done with this. And we don't know yet. Because we assume people said, oh, well, you can't do anything. We don't fucking know. We don't know what can be worked out over time. Maybe there's something you can discover that you can run code to hack the whole Switch to run whatever you want. You have no idea. So that's the danger that Nintendo sees themselves in. Like, what the fuck? So even if that's not the case, you made Nintendo look stupid for not knowing it's in there, and something that could potentially be an exploit. Obviously, that's a no-no at the end of the day. But you said people are saying that you can't do anything with this.
And they said Ruby isn't something you could do that with how it's in there. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert.
I'm not either.
That's what I've read. That's what I read in all the comments and stuff, was that basically there is no real way to exploit anything with Ruby. But still,
and plus he used this as a marketing tool.
Yes, exactly.
So Nintendo's probably like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Let your game stand on its own. Now you're putting out something that makes us look stupid because we don't know about it just to sell your game.
Right.
He's got a ton of publicity, obviously, from this. The bad news is this is it for your game on Switch.
Not all publicity is good publicity.
And I don't know if Nintendo's going to want something you do on their system after this.
Right, exactly. So, exploit or not, it's just stupid. It's stupid to try to sneak something past that and then go online and get all bravado about it.
Yeah, and then when Nintendo says, what the fuck?
You get upset. Like, I don't have any sympathy at all. I don't want to pile on the guy, but I have no sympathy for him.
No, I don't know who would call him a dick. I just say you're dumb for doing it.
Yeah.
You are, because you should have seen this coming. Especially for a company like Nintendo. They're not going to be like, oh, this is fine. Yeah. Nintendo's very tight about this stuff to begin with, obviously, with piracy and things, and even having the hint of being able to do something with it.
And sometimes they're like our old parents. They don't understand things. So maybe to you or to other people, maybe it being Ruby was like, okay, it shouldn't be a big deal. Nintendo doesn't know that. Nintendo thinks, oh, programming, it's the end of the fucking world.
Hack, exploit, USB, they're thinking the worst.
Right, exactly.
They're thinking, oh, you can play Odyssey for free next week.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're thinking.
Yes.
But I would think the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put the risk out. Okay. Ian, we have a scumbag
seller
of
the
week. Unfortunately, we don't know who the seller is in this case. This is from eBay user Sick Cooper, who has a YouTube channel, 11,000 subscribers. He's a game collector. And he did a pickup video with a few different things. The title of the video is called "An eBay Seller Tried to Scam Me Out of $1,600." So Sick Cooper bought what he thought was a sealed, authentic N64 Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cup.
Well, I don't think he thought it was truly authentic.
Well, that was the goal.
Right.
To get one that he thought. He realized that for $1,600, he's taking a chance because the sealed one's probably worth more than that. I don't keep up with N64 prices. I do know that even a complete and box one costs over $1,000.
Yeah.
For a Sculptor's Cut. So
a loose one goes for $300.
So more than $300. I think. Let me look right now. While you
That's what we sold our last. That's what we sold our last one for.
Was the last one you had?
About a month ago.
Oh, maybe someone got a deal. I don't know. I got mine for $5 at Kobe's, so I'm good there. Anyway, so he gets this game in the mail, and immediately he's like, something's off with this game. So the colors are
I
off.
was gonna say immediately with I just opened this video, hit a point, saw the fake one, and was like, those colors are fucked.
He compares because he has one in the box already. So the colors are off.
Not just by a little bit, like in some instances, quite a bit.
The folds are off, so the folds are folded too close to the graphics. Like on the top of the clapper board, it's cut off because the fold is done incorrectly. He looks on the up when you look at these things, you want to look at like the fine details of words. This goes back to like people like trying to counterfeit sports cards. It's hard to do the really fine details.
Oh, they didn't even do the major details right on this. Like,
what I'm saying is that's how you go. You look at the smaller things first,
Sure.
though. But yeah, the colors are off. Some
but, like,
things are
this right here is just like
time code. What time code?
544.
544. Let's see. What am I looking at here? Oh, the side of the box with the goofy kid characters. They're not even the same size.
Yeah, no, exactly. The size is wrong. The color's off. The printing is insanely bad.
Yeah, it's blurry. Some of the stuff. The words are not printed clearly in the fine print. They're like not white. They're like off white.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is bad.
It's a truly abysmal.
I'm gonna look for this seller right now online because Sid Cooper, you're gonna hide him from me. I'm gonna find him right now. So here's the deal, Ian. So fortunately, Sid Cooper, he opened the case because even though it says not returns, if eBay told him that if it's bullshit like this where it's not what you ordered, or obviously if it's counterfeit, you're gonna be able to return it. The seller knew that they'd been had though, and just gave the money back. Because what are you going to do with the fake sculptor's cut that was sealed? So Sid Cooper is like, you know what? I'm going to open this up. So he opens it up, and he discovers that not only is the box fake, but the color of the insert's not correct. You know, it should be white.
It's just
not
cardboard. Yeah.
But then there's also pieces of cardboard taken off a box, like literally ripped off the side, and sandwich it in to keep it in the box.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It gets better. There's not even a fake manual in there. But then the game, Ian, wasn't even a fake sculptor's cut. It wasn't even a fake sculptor's cut.
It is. I'm looking right now. Oh, yeah. I see the pieces of cardboard. NFL Club 98 or 99.
Probably a very common, $3, $2 game.
You could probably
$1 game.
Might have to give those away for free.
Give those away like a PlayStation Classic.
Yeah.
So the good news is that he got his money back without even returning it. So that's good. Looks like they do go for $300. Sculptor's cut, authentic ones here.
Yeah.
They haven't gone up that much. They sort of plateaued. Interesting. Yeah. So these costs. Someone's trying to get $2,200 for a just complete in box sculptor's cut. So $1,600 for a sealed one seems like a really good deal for that. So that's why he probably had an inkling that this is going to be fake, but in the chance that it isn't, whatever, I can get my money back.
Right.
That's a big risk for $1,600 though. But this is why this is bad though, is because there could be a collector out there who didn't know any better and just pay $600 because then we're going to open it to see.
Right.
They've been had. Counterfeit boxes suck. Repro boxes suck. Again, this is reason 3,487 why they suck.
The easiest way to pass something off like this is to have confidence. Confidence, man. You take this shitty sealed, to most people obviously not real box, but game, but you throw it up there. You ask a reasonable price for it, maybe just a little bit under, and you just have to hope that no one's ever going to question it.
Yeah, because this seller isn't going to apologize. They would have been fine selling this to someone.
Right.
They put in a little bit of work with their own sealed. I can't find the listing, unfortunately. I'm trying to find it because I want to call out the seller because who knows what else they've done in the past or the future if they tried this shit. They try to rob someone at $1,600.
Yes.
That's I think that's a felony in states over like once you get to like $700 or $1,000. This is mail fraud and it's a felony at the same time. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I can't find the listing. I'm kind of annoyed I can't find it. Maybe someone in the comments know the listing here. The problem is you hope that eBay will just ban the seller outright, but you don't know if they do this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, usually they're just like, oh, we're making money anyway. Let's see. I can't find the seller on here. This fucking scam artist.
I mean, they could have just blocked. I mean, they could have just removed it and.
Removed the sold listing?
Yeah. I mean, that's,
okay.
that's
all right.
probably what happened.
All right, Sid Cooper, you got to call out who this is. You got to call out this seller here. There's no harm in that. We do it all the time here. I'm just glad that he found this out. He's obviously knowledgeable. He opened it up and said, what the fuck, and it's a funny story. It's good for YouTube. The story. Yeah. I guess you could say that. It's good. It's good for YouTube. It's not. It's not good for YouTube. Pretending you're the victim because you sell your prototype on eBay that you're supposed to.
Yes,
you're supposed to dump.
It's a sob story.
So this is a better YouTube story. This is a better one. So all right, anything else to add, Ian?
No.
All right. So whoever tried to scam Sick Cooper here, whoever tried to scam him, is our scumbag seller of the week. And this was week. All right. Ian, do you want to talk about micromages or not really?
No.
But we do have a Tales from the Game Store.
Tales from the Game Store.
Yeah, I mean, sort of. Nothing wild or crazy, but
I like how you gave time to edit in the intro, by the way.
Yeah, don't worry about it. They'll find
Kieran will figure it out.
Kieran.
I'm trying, Kieran.
Godspeed,
I'm
Kieran.
trying to help you out. Ian is like, it's like working with an old lady.
Oh, God, my tits hurt.
Okay.
I think Oh, sorry, I'm stretching. Oh, there we go. Needed that. That had been building up. So, no, I just want to talk about one of my favorite couples that comes in and buys games. Nothing bad happens here.
Is this a positive Tales from the Game Store?
Tale from the Game Store.
Okay,
So there's this older couple that comes in to the store quite a bit. I would put them in early 60s, easy. And they always come in, they look around, they buy games. They're pretty quiet. They used to be anyways, until I started talking to them.
Early 60s.
Yeah.
Have you brought them up before?
No. Well, I brought up a different older couple.
Okay.
We do have a few older couples that shop there, and they're pretty much universally cool.
Shopping for television games?
The one couple I haven't seen in a while, they buy everything. The wife is really into the Game Boy games, so we always chat back and forth. So maybe this is a multiple old couple story here. But so the guy always comes in, and he's the more reserved one. And he'll look around, and he'll pick up games or whatever, and he'll be like, "How what do you think of this one?" I'm like, yay or nay. And they'll buy it and they'll leave, and they've always been nice. And then the guy will come in with his wife, and she gets real excited about it. But the guy had always mentioned his grandkid and how, he's buying these games for his grandkids or whatever. Mm-hmm. I need to get a controller for my grandkid. So, they shop, and I start to realize that he's nice but doesn't really want to be in there. And the wife is very into it. Okay. So about 3 weeks ago, they came in and bought a GameCube. A week later, they bought a PS2. And then a week after that, they bought an original Xbox.
All from the same generation.
Yep. And I was like, huh. And I was like, so what's going on here? You've had these before, these systems. I was like, because I've seen you buy the games for them. And they're like, oh, we gave those to our grandson. These ones are for me. The wife says.
Okay.
So she just said, so I'm like, oh, so, making conversation. I'm like, so you play a lot? And she's like, oh, I play all the time. And the guy just rolls his eyes, kind of backs away. And I'm like, do you play? And he's like, no. He's like, I have no interest in this stuff. He's like, my grandson has less interest than she does. She's the one who plays all this. And this little 62-year-old woman just goes nuts talking to me about Devil May Cry and God of War and all these racing games she's playing. And I'm like, are you serious? And she's like, oh, honey, she's like, I bought a PS4 because I needed to make sure I could play Devil May Cry 5 or whatever that one was. So we just got talking.
So she was trying to play it off like it was for her grandson?
He would always say it was for his grandson.
Whenever they came in.
Because from what I understand, the grandson lives with them. They take care of the grandson. And, so, he always said it was for the grandson, and I believed him. And that's what he said. It oftentimes was. But when they came in and the woman would get excited, he'd still be like, does, whatever their grandson's name is, I can't remember,
Charlie.
need this or need that or whatever. And she'd be like, no, he's fine. And then she'd be like, oh, yeah. So what I think was the case was, I think he was a bit embarrassed about his wife playing all these games and getting like super, super into it because...
Ashamed of his wife being a gamer.
I swear to you, when she started geeking out, it was like talking to any other, let's say, 28-year-old average person.
And she never did that before with you in the store. She always held back. They were always really friendly, and they were always buying games, but she always held back on that. And I could tell she played some of the stuff with her grandkid, but I thought that was kind of like the extent of it. No, it turns out she's the one who's collecting and has like all these systems, and like she's going over it, and she's like, I've got the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, and I just got... she's like, I just replaced my PS2 and my GameCube with you guys in the past couple weeks. And she's like, I'll be back next week probably for a PS3. She's like, because I'm giving a lot of these to my grandkid as he gets older so he can just have them. Man, that's Social Security money. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Slow down. I hope it's taken care of, Granny.
But so they're fantastic.
That's fantastic.
And I really enjoy when they come in. And the guy, the woman's always been really nice, but the guy was always a little...
haughty,
just a little like,
why am I in this children's store?
Just quieter. And he was always nice, but like I've started to break him down a little bit, and he jokes about like, he's sitting there reading and his wife is just going off in the other room on some game and he just doesn't get it. He's like, I don't understand this stuff at all.
And that happens. That's not just for an older person. There's people our age or younger that aren't into video games at all. They understand that people like them, but it's like, I have no interest in this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a generational thing in general. In general, the older you are, the less likely you're going to be into this stuff. I get that.
I think it very quickly with us as we become that age, as we become 60.
Yeah.
It's no longer going to seem generational or unique.
No.
But to have this woman who, from what I understand from what she said, basically picked up the habit from her grandson. Yeah. So it wasn't like her whole life she played games. It was, her grandson got her into them. That is a little bit more unique.
Yeah, the Nintendo generation really is a generation that's going to making it. Yeah, Atari 2600 was popular, but not worldwide to the extent I think that Nintendo became, especially branching out to the Super and things where it's like...
Well, back then they didn't look at video games as we look at video games now. It was a toy, or...
In the Atari era, it was still a toy. They were sold as toys.
You think of it as like, analogous to a board game. Or something like that.
Yeah, that's how they were looking.
Now it's totally something of its own.
Its own ilk.
Right, just because you may have been 40 when that came out and you enjoyed playing Atari does not mean that carried on at all past the Atari.
It was a toy to you. It's like, I played this toy for for a few years and then I got out of it. Now it's a whole entertainment medium that developed from there.
Yep.
Yeah, they treated it like a toy in the 70s up to the early 80s. They really did. Anyway, that's a good positive.
So
every once in a while, the Crypt Keeper would have a positive tale that didn't end in an awful misery and death. Right? That happens. It's like the Twilight Zone. You had happy episodes, built in. Like the coin on its side. That was one of the best episodes.
Oh yeah.
That was great. I fucking love that episode.
That's a good one.
I love his interactions with the bank manager when he finds out about the little side piece. Yep. He's like, okay. Yeah. I didn't know about that. Sorry, I love Twilight Zone. I haven't seen the new one yet. I hear mixed things about the new Twilight Zone. It's tough. Twilight Zone's a tough thing to write, and they get the tone exactly right.
Well, I mean, even Twilight Zone didn't write Twilight Zone great all the time.
Yeah, and they tried the two remakes that I heard were shaky in the 80s and the early 2000s with Forrest Whitaker there. Anyway, sorry. So that's a positive tale from the game store.
Yeah.
That's a light. That's a cockles in my heart are happy with that one. And we have a Patreon poll topic. How do you access the Patreon? You know this.
You go to patreon.com/CU podcast, and then along the side, it'll give you many options of things you can buy from us.
It's not a store. You're not getting something directly in return. It's not you're not getting something in the mail. I think some Patreons they do that and they send out. So maybe I should do that. Should I Patreon where I'll send you an NES game? Is that something illegal? Can I do that? I got tons. I'll send you a box system I have laying around. I could do that. A grab bag. I used to do that on the DVDs. I say, here's your grab bag of games.
You provide us the cashish. We provide you the entertainment.
In theory, you get the full video podcast here. That sometimes some stuff doesn't make the cut on YouTube.
Yeah.
This is an audio podcast, by the way. I have to remind you. Listen to us while you're in the car. You can't watch on your phone and get an accent, but you can listen to us in your car via Bluetooth. All right, so this was a respectable race, 3-way race. It's like for Parliament. You get 3 neck and neck. I don't know. We don't have a Parliament. I don't mind the parliamentary system. I wouldn't mind us trying to look into that coalition government so we actually get shit done. Anyway, sorry. This is like me talking to Brent about politics. In third place, 26%. What would Pat and Ian do with the Infinity Gauntlet? Now, would we be sharing it, or would we like hand it off to each other? Can I make him disappear? 26%. In second place, at 30%, you can guess, what would a CU podcast movie look like?
The world may never know.
We'll never know. And at number 1, what annoyed you the most about playing video games with other kids? At 44%. Ian, what annoyed you the most about playing?
Kevin accidentally kicking the Nintendo when I'd be beating him. Happened on multiple occasions.
What games would your Kevin do?
Oh, it would be anytime I'd beat him in like a hockey game or a baseball game.
You know how good you are at ice hockey, so I can see that.
I'm fantastic at ice hockey. Just boom. Oh, the game reset. It's like no, dude. You nudged it with your foot on purpose.
Were you playing on the floor?
Yeah, we'd be like sitting, and it happened a couple times. Like he would extend his foot, and just like I'd be it never happened when he was losing, or it never happened when he was winning. Only when he was losing.
So did you figure out maybe to like sit in between him and the NES?
Yeah.
And then it stopped happening?
And then it stopped happening quite so much. Or I'd be like, let's sit further back. One time I noticed he was like getting shuffly, and I was like, no.
You knew he was he knew you knew?
Yes.
Okay.
And
how old were you? Like 8, 10?
We were like 8 or 10. Yeah.
There's no excuse. You don't cheat at board games or video games like that. You don't do it.
No. Also, whenever I'd be winning against Kevin, he would say that I was cheating. I mean, that's a famous one. Yeah, you're cheating. Oh, it's uneasy. No, Kevin, I'm just beating you once. I'm just beating you.
Was it neck and neck for a lot of those, or just?
I mean, some of them. I mean, I've never been good at video games. And whenever I would get close to achieving something, or Kevin would downplay it.
Yeah, that's the competitive nature.
I'm tired.
He wouldn't give you that moment. Go like, good job, buddy. You finally beat that double dribble. What else did you play against him?
Lots of sports
Rock and Bowl
stuff.
Tecmo Bowl.
WrestleMania.
WF WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's not a game worth trying to
win. No one wins when you play a 2-player scene. That game is awful.
Also, here you have the shitty controller. That's
was one controller really in that much worse shape?
That was more like N64 era.
I was gonna say because Nintendo controllers take a beating.
No.
Super Nintendo's not as much, but Nintendo
it'd be like
NES will take a beating.
Have the third-party controller.
Oh
no.
Have the ASCII one where it feels all weird on the stick.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I don't want that. Even though you probably do just as fine, but you're not used to it when you're playing GoldenEye, right?
Yep.
Those are the ones for you that annoyed you the most.
Oh yeah, those annoyed me greatly.
How about just not letting you play?
Yep.
If you're at a party with like 4 or 5 kids, or just hanging out, our group of hangouts with kids was usually 3 to 5 or 6 when we just hang out, ride our bikes over to the next town. We'll just say 4 or 5 kids.
3 to 5 is a lot. Yeah, that's about right.
And how about you just pass the controller around, Kevin? I had a Kevin too. Or make sure the other kid passed the controller. It was his older brother, Quinn, that was a dick.
Oh, Quinn.
Yeah, Quinn and Kevin. Irish kids. Quinn tried to bully me a lot. I was scared of Quinn. Because he was like 3 years older, 2 or 3 years older. When you're a kid, 8 to 11 is a big jump.
Yeah, it is.
In stature.
It's huge.
That's like 3 weight classes up when you're a kid. He tried to intimidate Kevin and attacked him, and I was always afraid. So, he wouldn't let you play every now and then. And NES was in Quinn's room sometimes. It sucked because he had to deal with the brother, and he was an ass about it. He was fiery. And I'm sorry, this is not the topic we had. Oh, no, you're playing games with other kids. My sister, though, would almost never let me be first player.
Oh, really?
I mean, ever. And she bossed me around, too. She was 4 years older, and she was physically bigger. She had the hammer punches. Girls had the hammer punch. Bad form, but this still hurts. The hammer punch.
It does hurt.
She had the 1, 2, 3, 4 combo. 2 right, 1 left, 1 right. You better stay out of her way. And so it was mostly Super Mario Brothers. I'm trying to remember other games, but she was not good at sharing that first player. So that's one of the reasons I love Luigi, because I played Luigi a lot when I was a kid. And it was my NES. That was mine.
Of course,
my system and my game. I asked for Christmas. You asked for whatever the hell you asked for. Your fucking your Barbie or whatever. Now you've been 11. No, you still had Barbies when you were 11. I was 7 and got the NES. She made me get her Barbies for her from the upstairs when she was outside with her friends. See, I was the only boy my age in the neighborhood. And it was a bunch of girls, probably like 7 to 8 girls that between 2 years of my age. All the other boys were like 3, 4, 5 years older. You know, so I couldn't really hang out with them that much. Yeah, played like street hockey or street tennis, but that's about it. So a lot of times I'd be hanging out with all these girls, and they'd have their Barbies out down the street. My sister would say, "Patrick, go get my Barbies or I'll beat you up."
Wow. Nice.
And she meant it too. Never got to that point though, because little plucky Pat, thick but quick, I'd run up, get my sister her Barbies, and deliver them to you know, the rest of the girls there. Sorry, it's coming therapy right now.
Yep.
I never would do that to a little sibling. I don't think I'd have it in to be a bully. My sister was a bully. My sister was a little bit of a bully when it came to that stuff. Sorry, what I was talking about. We're talking about what do you hate with other kids? Hogging the game. Let's pass the controller every now and then.
Yeah, I had a friend. It was that friend everyone had, that rich friend when you were younger, and he had all the weirder systems that you didn't have. Like
I had one kid. One kid had the turbo.
His name was Aaron, and I remember going over to Aaron's place, and he'd be like, "Look at this TurboGrafx 16," and I'd be like, "Oh, sweet, but we're not going to play that right now."
Oh.
Or how about the Sega Master System? Let me show you Roston. And I'm just going to play Roston
and show
for
you
45 minutes and
you
not
have to
let
watch?
you play. Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
I think I
thought
never.
Roston was super expensive. Just no one had it. No one had the Master System.
No one had the Master System. It was something new,
something different.
And yeah, it was like I got to sit over there and watch him play with his toys for 3 hours and then go home.
Oh, it was just the two of you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the worst too. Like.
And you put up with it. You felt privileged to be in his presence.
No, I was just. That's why I only hung out with him like twice. I knew him in school, but.
Did he have other friends that he would try this with?
I don't think he had many friends, no.
Maybe he realized he was a douche. He didn't realize he was a douchebag. You know.
Anyway, yeah, so it's bad.
My friend Billy let me play the Genesis though a lot. We play NHL games and.
Oh, you had a Billy?
I had a Billy. Billy's different than a Kevin.
Billies are definitely
but
different
they're
than
bad.
Kevin's.
They're bad in different ways.
Yes, exactly.
Because Billy's can turn on you.
My Billy turned on me huge.
Kevin's are just dicks.
Yep.
They may not turn on you. Kevin's are dicks. Billy's can turn on you.
My Billy was my friend, and then one day in school he called me a goody two shoes. I think this was like 2nd or 3rd grade, and I was like, no, I'm done with this. And then so one of my other friends took a Hostess cupcake, unwrapped it, and placed it on his seat in the lunchroom, and Billy sat on the cupcake and got his pants all chocolatey and creamy, and he cried and cried and cried. He had to use the loaner pants.
So they had loaner pants?
Oh, yeah, loaner pants are a thing.
So, but your Billy was your same age. Mine was 2 years older.
Oh, okay.
Mine was 2 years older. So just old enough to still hang out with and play games, but he's physically stronger than you. So he can just get mad at you for no reason and throw your ass to the ground.
See, this
and
Billy,
you can't do anything about it.
This Billy was that way too. Billy was a big boy. And
Billy was raised by very strict Catholic parents where the father was a deacon and he was a strict asshole.
Yeah, see, now,
so the anger came out in Patrick sometimes.
The Billy I knew was from Catholic school, but his father was not a deacon.
No,
he was a Cub Scout captain.
They were like strict.
Leader, owner.
Like he was a deacon. She was a Eucharistic minister.
Eucharistic minister.
Eucharistic minister. Those were for those that don't know Catholicism. So Eucharistic minister.
That's when you get the bread chips.
You can get the. Excuse me. It's the body of Christ in the host. You're allowed to give those out to people. A Eucharistic minister is one step above that.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, a deacon's one step above that. A deacon's like the highest you can go without being in the clergy. You know, you can get trained to be a deacon. Anyway, so yeah, he was a little angry because of that. I think his parents were strict, and he took it out on Pat sometimes. You know, but we played Sega Genesis a lot. We Altered Beast, and you know he had all the NHL games, and we would listen to Queen and gangster rap. So in the early '90s, Pat was listening to gangster rap, and I didn't love it. I was a little offended by some of the lyrics when I was, 10, 11, 12 years old, but playing NHL, I got it. And he also had the Ewok Village in the box that I wanted to buy from him. He never sold it to me. Also, Ian, this was how I knew I loved retro games.
Okay.
Because he had an Atari 2600. And he had that 50 games. He probably got it in the mid-'80s when they were worth nothing. And I asked him, I wanted that. I liked playing. I always asked him, can we play the Atari? And I had little experience with the Atari, just my cousins had it. But I was like, I was fascinated by the Atari when I was like 10 years old. And I wanted to buy it from him, and his parents wouldn't let me buy it. So I was into retro gaming in like 1990, and I just couldn't get.
I bought my Atari 5200 when I was 10 from a flea market.
I was fascinated.
Yeah, me too. Billy, that was Billy. However, I did get to play. I got to play games on his Tandy.
Oh, yeah, the Tandy.
Yeah, that's where I first played.
IBM PC
Ghostbusters. Yeah, that's where I first played Ghostbusters. I played the Commando port, and
the one that I have, the one that with the bad one, not the Commodore one, which is good.
Yeah, no, the bad one. And then what was the last one? Oh, Spy vs. Spy, the PC version.
We're getting off topic. We're talking about how our Billies and Kevins are somewhat similar in ways. Except mine beat me up every now and then.
Yeah.
The one time when I was hanging out, again, I was the youngest kid in the block, boy-wise. So my sister was dating a guy from the other block who was like a year older named Scott. This Scott was kind of a dick, but he was like a good guy deep down.
Sure.
Scott's usually like that.
He was a little aloof.
This one was just a little bit edgy. Like, he stole like stuff from the Herman Sporting Goods store in the mall, but he wouldn't do anything violent or anything.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
I personally do not have a pattern of Scotts.
Okay.
But
this was my Scott. This is my Scott because like he could like be a dick to me, but he wouldn't do anything over the line with me. He would kind of protect me. So this was like probably like a January, February.
I had a Robert that was that way.
Okay. My Robert was a piece of shit who ended up being good later in life. Anyway, so I said something to Billy. I made fun of him for something. This is in front of like 8 to 10 kids in the block hanging out like a Saturday night. He threw me into the wet ice puddle.
Oh.
Billy did. And I was friends with Billy. And Scott chased him down the block. And he was like, oh shit, I'm sorry. And Scott chased him down the block and like, so you better apologize. I made him apologize to me. Partially because he was dating my sister. My sister was probably like 13, 14.
Sure.
And I was like 10. But he still did the right thing. And Billy apologized to me. I'm sorry, Pat. I have some tales from my neighborhood I can probably talk about, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I had a very interesting neighborhood. Sorry, we totally went off topic. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
But those are our experiences playing playing games with other kids.
Particularly Kevin's and Billy's.
Particularly Kevin's and Billy's. I guess what annoyed me, with Billy was playing NWA too much when I was a kid, and too live crew, a little bit too much for me, a little bit too. Not that I was going to go out and go to a booty shaking party, but I'm 10 years old. I don't need to listen to that.
Pop that pussy.
Yes, exactly. On the box, music, television, you control. And that was this City Podcast. This is an interesting one.
That was it.
That was a podcast. Check out that Micro Mages game. I've been hearing a lot about it. We're almost talking about it, but I don't know a lot about it.
I don't know what to say other than it looks fantastic.
It's like this scrolling action platformer up to 4 players. You get these little ghost-looking mage guys that shoot at stuff and pew, pew, pew. There's some Super Meat Boy elements in there. You got to jump around and avoid traps and things. Check it out there. It got a lot of money in Indiegogo. We're going to be at conventions. We talked about that before. Missouri Game Con I'll be at, and then Ian will also be at with me, Long Island Retro Gaming Expo in early August.
Indeed.
We might be at Comic-Con doing stuff too, hanging out and stuff. All right, that's it for the See You Podcast. We will see you in a week. Bye-bye.